In this episode of the Great Aussie Build Off presented by eBay and Sparesbox, we upgrade the suspension, brakes, wheels and tyres in our XR8 Ute.
Now, if you've ever been for a ride in a Ford Falcon taxi, especially one with a few Ks under its belt, you know that they're not the greatest ride on earth. They can be summed up as pretty not great. But the easiest way to make an old car feel new again is to replace the suspension. And if we're going to replace all the suspension in our Falcon, we might as well upgrade at the same time. So let's jump on eBay and see what we can find.
Finding the parts we needed for our XR6 Ute on eBay and on the Sparesbox eBay store was rather easy. We simply need to type in our car make and model, and we can either search for the part we wanted specifically, or we can search by category, such as suspension or brakes. Same deal in the Sparesbox store. Simply go to the category we want, look for what we're after, and the amount of suspension and brake parts available to us was huge. Can't deny that online shopping for car parts is pretty fun. As we were using Sparesbox's eBay account to purchase parts, they collected all of them for us before they delivered them all over in one go.
If you've been watching since the first episode, you know we're building our XR8 Ute to go head-to-head with Mechanical Stig's SS Ute in this Great Aussie Build Off, but the problem is we don't actually know what the challenges are going to be at the end. But being a Great Aussie Build Off, I presumed that the most important thing will be it makes heaps of grunt, can do big burnouts and can carry heavy things. So our suspension and brake upgrade has focused more around that and stayed pretty budget conscious rather than looking for the ultimate in lap time. So let's have a look at what we've got up front. DBA T3 4000 series of brake rotors combined with some of these extreme performance brake pads. Yes, there is a more expensive brake upgrade available, or we could have gone to Brembos, etc. But let's face it, for doing burnouts, this is going to be a plenty good upgrade. We got some new hubs for the front of the car because we noticed that the wheels that were on this car are actually rubbing on the suspension and the hubs are pretty much knackered. So time to replace those. Moving down from white line, we have all new control arms. Now, when you go to upgrade the suspension in these and put all new bushes in, you have two options. You can buy the bushes on their own, but then you've got to press them out of every suspension arm and press them back in, or you can just buy complete replacement arms. So we have the upper arm, the lower arm, and the locating or caster rod arm as well. So like I said, we could have pressed bushes in and had to press the old ones out, and then we could have got the arms powder coated, but honestly, it's more cost and time effective to just buy complete replacements from Whiteline. We also have an upgraded front sway bar from Super Pro, as well as the bushes for it, and we have these cool new replacement sway bar links. So the front suspension will feel brand new once we put it all back together. We have King springs, an Aussie icon, some KYB shocks for the front to replace, because I'm pretty sure these are quite flogged out. We also have new shocks for the back, and we also have DBA rotors in the back and pads as well. Once again, just a slotted rotor. And we have King Springs rear leaf springs. These are a lowering spring, and the good thing is they come complete and also have a bush already pressed in. So it's a bolt out, bolt in affair with these rear leaf springs. Now, a lot of people think that cars with leaf springs don't handle very well, but the XR8 does all right. So if they do ask for a lap time, I don't think will be the ultimate corner cover, but it'll be all right. But most importantly, it won't lose its ability to carry heavy loads and do big burnouts. So this right here, a factory bush, is the culprit for why so many cars with heaps of Ks on them feel old. So when we get the new one, old, crappy rubber bush that's worn out, new polyurethane bush that is fresh. We also get a fresh ball joint at the same time, and it's nice and clean and new, which is great. So the new Super Pro sway bar also comes with these new adjustable links. Why are these so important? Well, two reasons. One, it gives us nice, fresh, new ball joints, and they're nice and clean and new. The factory ones are solid, so it's not a big issue, but the adjustment allows you to change preload on the sway bar, because sometimes if the car doesn't sit right or whatever, you can have some preload on the sway bar that you might not want. And also adjusting the length means if you lower the car, you can then move the sway bar back into a better position in case it's going to hit on anything or move around. So now a quick tip for working on a car you've never worked on before is I like to lay out the old part and the new part next to each other. So as you're swapping things over, you get it exactly right. Now against Grubb's recommendations, I actually look at the instructions for parts, especially on a car where I haven't fitted anything to it before. And the first thing I noticed was I went to move this bracket over, and the instructions specifically say to discard the bracket. So that's why it pays to read instructions sometimes, doesn't it, Grubb? Now, if you're observant, you would have noticed this car already has King springs in it, but it has factory shocks. Quite often that is a recipe for the shocks destroying themselves over time, especially with the amount of Ks this thing has on it. Why did I buy new springs for it? Because I can, to be honest, and they're nice, fresh and new, clean, to go with clean new shocks. Let's do it. Now, before I go pulling the strut apart, I just came to the realisation that I don't think I've put lowered springs in a car since 2003 when I bought my S14 Silvia. I think I've only ever installed coilovers for almost the last 20 years. So going back, kicking it old school, kicking it 21-year-old Andrew style. Let's do it. Spring compressors. Some of you like to live dangerously and not use them. Me personally, I'm not Grubb, so I use them. So I got the factory bump stop to go onto the new KYB shock, and then basically next is put on the spring, compress that down, and then put the factory strut top back on, and we can go back in the car. So before we put the sway bar on, we need to assemble the end links. As you can see, the smartest thing to do with them is just make them factory length to begin with. We just need to shorten that down, get it about to factory length. So when we put it in, at least we have a good starting point. Well, Grubb and I managed to get all the new suspension and brakes in a day. That should have been a day job feature.
Should have been, yeah.
This is the first day job feature that's actually taken a day.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
That's because we didn't call it day job.
Now, how would you rate that job out of 10 for 10 being difficult, throw wrenches around the room, and 0 being easiest thing ever? 5?
Yeah, 5. 5. It wasn't actually that bad.
If you do it with a mate, you could get it done in a day. If you did it on your own...
it's probably not a by yourself job.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm just excited to see if this thing drives like new now, because it's new everything in suspension. Like literally every bush, every arm, every spring, shock, everything. It's all new.
Brand new car.
We've got some better brakes on it. But from here, I've got to go get it wheel aligned. Then I'm going to go put some new wheels and tyres on, because the 20s, they're not my style. They're heavy.
They don't actually fit very well.
No, they don't. They rub on the upright and all sorts of stuff. So we're going to head over to Prestige Tyre and Auto, get some new wheels and tyres, get it wheel aligned, and then we can see just how good this thing will drive with a whole bunch of fresh parts from eBay and Sparesbox.
The 20-inch wheels on the car were not only not our style, but heavy and more for looks than performance. We wanted a genuine lightweight performance wheel that allowed us to get decent sized rubber under the guards. The Enkei RPF1 in an 18-inch wheel from Prestige Tyre and Auto was perfect. They're lightweight, they look good, they're reasonably priced, and it wouldn't be Motive Video if we didn't add a little JDM flavour. When it came to tyres, we've had great results with Zestino tyres on our other project cars, so we picked up some Zestino Grej RRs in 235 front and 265 rear. The RR is a 200 treadwear, so a good compromise between their softer RS and harder R model of tyre, meaning it's great for the street but can also cop some track use as well. Pretty much exactly what we want. We had the guys from Prestige Tyre and Auto in Marrickville fit them up and give the car a wheel alignment, which it needed after having all the suspension changed. We think the finished result looks great. The rubber is now chunky rather than elastic bands and fills the guards nicely without looking stupidly low. It gives the car a much tougher and more purposeful look. In our next episode, we'll be making the XR8 even tougher than it looks with the fitment of a supercharger kit. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out, and also don't forget to head over to Benny's Custom Works channel to see how their SS Ute build is going.